Namaste. Welcome to the Krishna Katha Book Club, November 2024, with readings from the fourth and final division of the Nectar of Devotion. Here we will examine chapters 45 to 51, which contain ambrosial waters from the great northern ocean. There are 12 different kinds of rasas, sweetness or ecstatic relationships which are shared with Krishna. In part 3, we have already examined 5 direct rasas: neutrality, servitude, fraternal love, parental love, and conjugal love. The remaining 7 rasas are indirect, and they are listed as laughing, astonishment, chivalry, compassion, anger, dread, ghastliness. Rupa Goswami describes these 7 ecstasies of devotional feelings. 1. Laughing. Expert Vaishnavas say that laughing is generally found among youngsters. Here is an example. Once, one of Krishna's friends informed him, "My dear Krishna, if you will open your mouth, then I shall give you one nice sugar candy mixed with yogurt." Krishna immediately opened his mouth, but instead of giving him sugar candy with yogurt, the friend dropped a flower in his mouth. After tasting this flower, Krishna turned his mouth in a disfigured way. And upon seeing this, all his friends standing there began to laugh very loudly. Laughing can also be in a combination of an old person's and young children. Or ecstatic, loving laughing is sometimes also found in persons who are very grave by nature. One such example is an old mendicant who approached the door of Mother Yasoda's house. And Krishna told Yasoda, "My dear mother, I don't wish to go near this skinny villain. If I go there, he might put me within his begging bag and take me away from you." In this way, the wonderful child Krishna began to look at his mother, while the mendicant, who was standing in the door, tried to hide his smiling face, although he could not do so. He immediately expressed his smiling. In this instance, Krishna himself is the object of laughing affairs. Rupa Goswami delves deeply into laughter in ecstatic love and describes that it can be broken down into 6 divisions according to different degrees of smiling. Then these 6 classes of smiling can be further classified as major and minor. This gives an indication that this is a science. Here is one example. When one is smiling but his teeth are not visible, one can distinctly mark a change in the eyes and in the cheeks. This is called Shmita smiling. Once, when Krishna was stealing yogurt, Jarati, the head mistress of the house, could detect his activities, and she was therefore coming very hurriedly to catch him. At that time, Krishna became very much afraid of Jarati and went to his elder brother Baladev. He said, "My dear brother, I have stolen yogurt. Just see, Jarati is coming hurriedly to catch me." When Krishna was thus seeking the shelter of Baladev because he was being chased by Jarati, all the great sages in the heavenly planets began to smile. This smiling is called Shmita smiling. When a smiling person claps his hands and leaps in the air, the smiling expression changes into atihasita, or overwhelming laughter. An example of atihasita was manifested in the following incident. Krishna once addressed Jarati thus, "My dear good woman, the skin of your face is now slackened, and so your face exactly resembles a monkey's. As such, the king of the monkeys, Bali Mukha, has selected you as his worthy wife." While Krishna was teasing Jarati in this way, she replied that she was certainly aware of the fact that the king of the monkeys was trying to marry her, but she had already taken shelter of Krishna, the killer of many powerful demons, and therefore she had already decided to marry Krishna instead of the king of the monkeys. On hearing this sarcastic reply by the talkative Jarati, all the cowherd girls present there began to laugh very loudly and clap their hands. This laughter, accompanied by the clapping of hands, is called atihasita. The wave in chapter 46 describes two more expressions of ecstasy, astonishment and chivalry. So 2, astonishment. The ecstasy of astonishment in devotional service is perceived in two ways: directly, by the experience of one's own eyes, and indirectly by hearing from others. An example of astonishment in devotional service by direct perception is when Narada came to see the activities of the Lord at Dwarka, and he saw that Krishna was present within every palace in the same body and was engaged in different activities, he was struck with wonder. Next, here is an example of indirect astonishment. Trying to test Krishna to see if he were truly the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Brahma stole all the cowherd boys and cows from him. But after a few seconds, he saw that Krishna was still present with all the cows, calves, and cowherd boys, exactly in the same way as before. When Lord Brahma described this incident to his associates on the Satyaloka planet, they all became astonished. Brahma told them that after taking away all the boys, he saw Krishna again playing with the same boys in the same fashion. Their bodily complexion was blackish, almost like Krishna's, and they all had 4 arms. The same calves and cows were still present there in the same original fashion. Even while describing this incident, Brahma became almost overwhelmed. And the most astonishing thing, he added, was that many other Brahmas from many different universes had also come there to worship Krishna and his associates. Number 3, chivalry. When, on account of love and devotional service for the Lord, there is specific heroic enthusiasm, the resultant activities are called chivalrous. These chivalrous activities can be manifested in the acts of mock fighting, giving charity, showing mercy, and so on. Krishna and Sri Dharma were very intimate friends, yet Sri Dharma, out of anger with Krishna, challenged him. When both of them began to fight, all the friends on the bank of the Jamuna enjoyed the wonderful fighting of the two friends. They prepared some arrows for mock fighting, and Krishna began to throw his arrows at Sri Dharma. Sri Dharma began to block these arrows by whirling his pole, and by Sri Dharma's chivalrous activities, Krishna became very satisfied. Such mock fighting generally takes place among chivalrous persons and creates wonderful excitement for all viewers. The next wave in chapter 47 describes compassion and anger. Number 4, compassion. When the ecstasy of devotional service produces some kind of lamentation in connection with Krishna, it is called devotional service in compassion. In this ecstasy of devotional service, there are sometimes symptoms like regret, heavy breathing, crying, falling on the ground, and beating upon one's chest. Here is one example. When Krishna was chastising the Kalyanaga in the Jamuna, the big snake wrapped his coils all over Krishna's body. And upon seeing Krishna in this situation, all his dear cowherd friends became greatly disturbed. Out of bereavement, distress, and fear, they became bewildered and began to fall on the ground. Because the cowherd boys were under the illusion that Krishna could be in some mishap, their symptoms are not at all astonishing. They had dedicated their friendship, their possessions, their desires, and their very selves to Krishna. When Krishna entered the Jamuna river, which had become very poisonous from the presence of Kaliya, Mother Yasoda feared all kinds of mishaps, and she was breathing hotly. Tears from her eyes were soaking her clothes, and she was almost collapsing. Number 5, anger. In ecstatic loving service to Krishna in anger, Krishna is always the object. Love for Krishna in anger was expressed by Rohini Devi when she heard the roaring sound of the 2 falling Arjuna trees to which Krishna had been tied. The whole neighbourhood proceeded immediately toward the place where the accident had taken place, and Rohini Devi took the opportunity to rebuke Mother Yasoda as follows: "You may be very expert in giving lessons to your son by binding him with a rope, but don't you look to see if your son is in a dangerous spot? The trees are falling on the ground, and he is simply loitering there." This expression of Rohini Devi's anger toward Yasoda is an example of ecstatic love in anger caused by Krishna. The next wave in chapter 48 describes dread and ghastliness. Number 6, dread. In ecstatic love for Krishna in dread, there are 2 causes of fear: either Krishna himself or some dreadful situation for Krishna. After the Putana witch had been killed, some friends of Mother Yasoda inquired from her about the incident. Mother Yasoda at once requested her friends, please stop, don't bring up the incident of Putana. I become distressed just by remembering this incident. The Putana witch came to devour my son, and she deceived me into letting her take the child on her lap. After that, she died and made a tumultuous sound with her gigantic body. Number 7, ghastliness. A person experiencing ecstatic love for Krishna with ghastliness is almost always in the neutral stage of devotional service, or Santa Rasa. A fortunate child in the womb of his mother prayed to Krishna as follows: O enemy of Kamsa, I am suffering so much because of this material body. Now I am trapped within a mess of blood, urine, and liquid stool within the womb of my mother. Because I am living in such a condition, I am suffering great pangs. Therefore, O divine ocean of mercy, please be kind to me. I have no ability to engage in your loving devotional service, but please save me. Concluding words by Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Srila Rupa Goswami concludes by saying that Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu is very difficult for ordinary men to understand. Yet he hopes that Lord Krishna, the eternal Supreme Personality of Godhead, will be pleased with his presentation of this book. This purport is finished today, the 30th of June, 1969. Namaste, everyone, and please join December 2024's Krishna Katha Book Club, which will be an introduction to the cream of the Vedas, the Srimad Bhagavatam. We will then begin 2025 with the Brahma Samhita.